Welcome back to Views with Hughes or Jennifer News. This is Jerome Hughes, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to the channel and also click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. All right, so from thatpopplace.com, WDW Pro reports that Hollywood is shifting away from woke before it kills them. All right, either I've been living under a rock, but pretty sure I haven't really noticed this from various Hollywood companies, anything, or maybe that, you know, they might have spent so much money on the planning of the things that it's too late to go back. Or in other words, the executives don't want to make the same move that David Zaslav's made. All right. So it says here that the shift is already happening behind the scenes at studios. The market has spoken, and it's time to shift away from the types of films we've endured for the past 5 years and everything. Okay. So way it goes into is like, you know, Summer 22 is going and taking the corpse of the woke narrative push with it. So in other words, it seems as if, you know, it's being proven that now these companies are finally starting to see that the people don't want the woke content that's put out there. All right. And it says here that Hollywood, though unlikely to ever repent or admit defeat, is tucking tail and giving up on pushing the unwashed masses from seeing the secular light. And in September, which was last month, is the worst month in Hollywood domestic box office history, or at least in the past 30 years. Okay, so they even talk about how even Saturday Night Live is figured it out and nearly killed itself. You know, they might not know how to be funny anymore, but SNL mocking itself for being unfunny is a sort of meta commentary on how badly postmodern narcissistic neo-Marxism has hurt entertainment. I'm gonna have to agree with that point, because of the fact that it's been like for the past few years and everything, or even I would say decade, Saturday Night Live wasn't funny. Okay, it wasn't funny anymore. But nothing inside that bubble is funny or exciting. It's all just deflating, okay, for audiences and for economy. So that basically proves the old line correctly: go woke, go broke. All right, put woke content out there that's not for everybody that they're trying to reach out to, and then they're going to be tuning out to it. Okay, even those of you try to reach out to, they don't like it either. Okay, they don't like it. As a black man, there's like a lot of stuff out there that they're giving us with black characters that's been race swapped and gender swapped and everything from what the original stuff had. I don't want it either. You're just giving us breadcrumbs by that point, sitting there, oh well, they're familiar with these characters and everything. They know these characters. It's about time we make them in a manner where they see themselves coming from them. We don't want that. We don't want breadcrumbs. We don't want you giving us secondhand stuff. Okay. All right, so of course you'll almost certainly not hear any of this from the mainstream press, nor in the access media for that matter. And I agree with this. The mainstream media won't report on this, and they won't unless it's Fox News or something like that. And you know, I doubt even they'll report on it, because of the fact that they still need to talk about it in order to be relevant. Okay, since we've seen like a lot of their audience also departed away from them, going into independent media outlets as well. So it says here, think back over the last 12 months, and what do you get is a very strong pattern decided by the market. No matter what you've heard, the market is the deciding factor when it comes to what gets made and what gets shelved. We've seen that verbatim. Okay, we've seen that before when things called cancellations. Okay, where the company's got to cancel it because of the fact that the audience isn't, you know, in tune with it anymore. And if they won't cancel it, they just move it to a different platform, like they did Star Trek Discovery or Picard, for example. All right. So double that factor when the economy is heading into a global recession, which it in fact is currently doing. Studios can't afford to have worse months in 30 years on a regular basis. They definitely can't afford it when inflation should make that nearly impossible. Plus, the economy is about to wallop their budget. So Yeah, I'm have to agree with that as well. We're definitely in an inflation. Inflation is going to really affect Hollywood. As a matter of fact, it's really going to mess it up. By the way, and because of the fact that people are trying to save money, they're trying to save money. The inflation is going on. People are losing jobs. They're losing money. They can't find jobs. The jobs are out there, but at the same time, they're not lowering the qualifications for them. Okay, in order to get these people hired, but that in itself is a different story. Okay. And when people are saving money, they're going to save. It's like they're going to buy less entertainment or less means of entertainment. Not only with movies, shows, but also possibly even visiting different theme parks throughout the U.S. Okay, and especially Disney. All right. So they definitely can't afford it when inflation should make that nearly impossible. Plus, the economy is about to wallop their budgets, and it's the same story over on streaming. She-Hulk have increased its viewing minutes from very, very bad to just very bad in last week for Nielsen numbers, but it isn't changing the Marvel situation. So it's saying here that the Disney Plus subscriptions are supposed to be going up, and instead they're still declining. They're constantly declining, okay? All right, but it's like, no. If that's the case, why then are the Marvel live action shows drawing small numbers of viewers? Okay, so they're stating that it's going up on the domestic side, but at the same time, the Marvel shows are drawing in much less viewers than they actually anticipated or they bragged on about. All right, so that's something that Bob Chapek is going to have to answer the next quarter. So it also talks about the only way that happens, is that if you're producing the antithesis of what the market wants you to give them, a quick glance over at the Marvel live action property shows the same. A sputtering out of franchises that it's on a decline. Miss Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, they're all series that are less popular than the series that came before them. Okay, if a report out of Whip Media is true that Andor pulled a smaller audience than She-Hulk on its debut weekend, it won't be the patriarchy that will be smashed. It will be the Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm. If you can't beat She-Hulk's ratings, you're going to do something very wrong. You're doing something very wrong. I mean, Devil in Ohio on Netflix is beating She-Hulk. That's a shame. That's a shame. You're going to let a mediocre Netflix show beat you and everything after you went on ahead and put it out there and promoted it as like the next best thing, better than all the other shows. And you're going to let a mediocre show like, what was it called again? Devil in Ohio from Netflix beat you. From a subscription program that's dwindling in numbers as we speak, that only gets big whenever the new season of Stranger Things is up there. You gonna let them really beat you like that? But yeah, I don't know that show, and yeah, this is at the same time. It's a shame that there's like higher ratings, better ratings up there than She-Hulk. So the article goes into detail where it talks about House of Dragon on HBO. The show is double dipping with presentations on cable plus streaming. Yeah, it is fair. It's not far behind Rings of Power for Amazon Prime, even though Amazon Prime is solely a streaming affair when you combine the ratings for cable and streaming. House of the Dragon is likely ahead of Rings of Power, and it almost certainly would be after the initial debut impressions take effect. Now, it goes in to talk about Jeff Bezos saying, if you're Jeff Bezos and you spent $1 billion on the most expensive television production in history, you probably don't want to be running neck and neck, if it's the best case scenario, with the Game of Thrones spinoff or prequel. You sure don't want to be in that situation while your cast and crew make your show out to be as woke as possible. And like with the numbers and everything, like they talk about 25 million viewers from the first few episodes, and then next thing you know, it starts going lower than that because of the fact that if you go into detail about the ratings, it'll tell you a different story. And you wouldn't be Jeff Bezos at that point because of the fact that you got like elite friends and everything over in Hollywood who might be mocking you at the Country Club for having such abysmal ratings in the show. All right. So clearly it's not working. Woke content is not working, and the market's already given its final answer on the trend that will likely have become a faded fast soon enough. And it says here, replacing a strong narrative and mediocratic heroes with identity politics and tribalism. In other words, African American black culture. Okay, stated that if you're black, you should enjoy the show because it's for you, basically. And tribalism is a dead endeavor. It'll take a few years for all the pipeline going to be flushed out, similar to what is happening at Warner Brothers Discovery right now. But eventually, we're going to move on from this, like we moved on from soap opera style motion smoothing on television. And yet, yeah, it's still available, but all the cool kids know to leave it alone. That's the same with this woke junk. So in other words, just like they back then in the 2000s and everything, where the soap opera started dwindling even further, except for the few that remains on ABC and all of that, and CBS. But there's more people who used to watch it, left it alone for more entertainment, better entertainment. All right, so the same thing is going to happen with woke. The people who they're trying to aim out to, they're going to get sick and tired of it as well, because of the fact that they're going to realize that this is not what they want. Yeah, they want to go ahead and live their lives in the way they deem fit, but at the same time, they don't want any kind of politics, whether it's left or right, going into their entertainment, into their escapism, and into the things that make them happy. Okay. So you're not going to get in the building and apologize to the studios. I can see that verbatim. They're not going to apologize. They're not going to backtrack. They're not going to actually own up to their mistakes, their wrongdoings. They're not going to speak out to the fans and everything, saying we're going to do better. They're not even going to take accountability. They're just going to continue to shift blame to men as well as straight people about this, as well as continue to call people racist, bigots, istophobes, everything in the book. Okay. Not going to get a big apology out of the studios. Disney and Bob Chapek aren't going to release some statement letting you know that they've changed their strategies. This is just going to happen quietly. So in other words, they're not going to make a grand announcement. They're going to go ahead and keep it on the low. Get us to try to go back to what was done before, or try to get better content out there without anything related to politics, current day politics and stuff. They're not going to make an announcement of that because of the fact that they're trying to maintain they maintain their standing in Hollywood, as well as being on good working terms with the politicians. And at the same time, they fear that they might lose money because it's the fact that they see that the OG fans have left and jumped ship. Okay. And it's that they're not going to make a grand announcement because of the fact that, it might not even bring them back, or the people are really convinced that it's going to be another lie. All right. It's just going to happen quietly. We'll see more of these movies fall over in winter, and we all move to the next topic. Those who are true believers will shriek and contemplate on how the world can be so obtuse and hateful, but the rest of us will just move on. And it's like, it was fun to experiment, but it wasn't. The author of this article stated. All right, so it then goes in detail about how Hugh Jackman is returning as Wolverine in the KG Hollywood decision that brings testosterone-loving audiences to theaters. So in other words, men. Back we go to a world where real-world practical effects dazzles audiences and make them wonder how can the world be they pull it off. How in the world they pull it off? It won't be very in every movie, but it's the destination now. Okay, so the studios won't make a grand announcement about it. They won't make any announcement about it. They're just going to go ahead, do it quietly, let it go ahead, and while we move on and everything on to different things. All right, it's going to take a lot to try to win people back and stuff, and most likely, like a grand number of them won't even come back. Period. Okay, but all the CEOs know that They try to go back to the practical effects that does the audiences and make them wonder how in the world they pull it off. It won't be every movie, but it's destination now. It's the studios know it, the CEOs know it, everybody in Hollywood knows it. And they know that everyone's tired of this postmodern stuff, okay? We just want to get back into the action. We don't want any political, theatrics or anything like that. If we want anything dealing politics, we go ahead and watch the news for it. Okay, let me know your thoughts below. Do you think that Hollywood has actually started shifting away from woke, or are they going to continue to push it? Okay, what are the big name companies going to do? The corporation going to do? What is we already see what Warner Brothers Discovery is doing, but what will Disney do? What will Netflix do? How long is it going to take them? Are they going to drag their feet, or are they just going to go ahead and do it on low to the point where we wouldn't even recognize it? All right, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also if you haven't done so, click the subscribe button and also click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. And also, if you enjoyed this show, this episode that I've shared with you, go ahead and smash that like button and also share it everywhere on social media. Until then, peace.